I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Matt, if we could have roll call, please.
Counselor Hickerson,
Here.
Hanson,
Here.
Solo,
Here.
Robinson,
Here.
Thompson,
Here.
Demas,
Here.
Pedri,
Here.
Zadi,
Here.
Mayor Mickelson.
Here. Okay, that brings us to the consent agenda for this evening. We have the City Council meeting minutes of December 19th, 2023. Oh, no, it does. My digital copy doesn't have the election of the council president. And I was really committed to busting through this meeting. So until Larry ruined my whole plan.
That's what I'm here for.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So I would take nominations for council president.
Your Honor.
I'd like to nominate Larry Hickerson.
Okay.
I would second that.
Okay.
Third.
Fourth. Are there any other nominations on the floor?
Your Honor,
Yes, Councilor
I would
Hickerson.
like to nominate the rest of the council.
I don't think that will fly. Tragically. Okay. Going once, going twice, going three times.
Your Honor, I'd like to nominate Rob Zotti just so I can make it uncomfortable for people.
Thanks. My record will stand. With that, if everybody wants to write down their vote and pass it to me? No, we just got to do a voice vote?
You want one of these little ones?
Sure.
Yeah. We'll just do voice vote. Okay. All those in favor of Councilor Hickerson for president, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Well, that solves that issue.
That really
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
Yeah. Okay. Congratulations. You know, if you hadn't pointed that out, this is your own fault.
Well, it said it.
I thought that was leadership.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what that was.
Yeah. You really took the bull by the horns. So we will move forward with seat rearranging at the next meeting. And now we're going to dive into the consent agenda, which has the approval of the minutes from the City Council meeting of December 19th, 2023, the 2024 City Council Standing Committee appointments, the Joint Powers Telecom Board meeting minutes of November 16th, 2023, the Joint Powers Combined Communication Board meeting minutes of November 27th, 2023, and a notice from the U.S. Federal Energy Regulatory Commission requesting comments on environmental issues for the proposed westbound compression energy project. Council, do we have a motion?
So moved, Your Honor.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, then that was a motion from Councilor Hickerson and a second from Councilor Hanson. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries unanimously. We have one bid opening. Thank you, sir. From Wyoming Signs in Mills, Wyoming, for a total of $815,330, and there is a bid bond. That was $815,330. Got it back in there. Good job. I'm proud of myself. Okay, that brings us to petitions and public comment. If you'd like to address the council, please approach the podium and give us your name and identify who, if anyone, you represent.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. My name is Clark Stith. I represent House District 48 in the Wyoming Legislature. Hadn't been here for a while, so I thought I'd come by and say hello for the new year. Happy New Year. Couple of things that you're probably aware of. Legislative session starts not till February the 12th. It's a budget year, so the legislative session is only 20 days. So if you have any last-minute ideas for changing the law, please let me know. We'll see if we can get that in the hopper. It does take a 2/3 vote for introduction in either house, so it's sort of a steeper hill to climb. So I'm not all that optimistic that there'll be all that many new bills that get passed. But then again, maybe that's okay. As you're also aware, the governor's task force on the Bureau of Land Management's Resource Management Plan is meeting this Thursday, having its final meetings this Thursday and then Friday morning. I serve on that, not as a voting member, but as a backup player, backup singer to Speaker Albert Summers on that. We're hoping to generate a report from that task force so that the governor can use that to submit the state's recommendations and objections to the resource management plan. As you know, there's a lot at stake there and very complicated, but hopefully the Bureau of Land Management will not implement its preferred alternative B, because that would have severe negative economic consequences, as you know. In other news, I've been working with Chief Walmsley a little bit on seeing what we can do, if anything, on the regulatory front to make it easier to use existing buildings, downtown buildings. I have one potential bill in the hopper right now. I don't know if it's going to be in final form and ready for prime time, but the idea is to try to make it easier using either the existing building code or perhaps having incentives for people so they can bring their buildings up to code so that you can make use of these buildings in an economically viable way, consistent with structural safety, fire safety. So so we'll stay tuned for that, but that could have an effect on you. And I certainly appreciate your input if you think there are things that we could do to make it, on the regulatory front, to make things easier, again, consistent with public safety. It's sort of the update on the financing for the Bitter Creek project. Keep hammering away at that. Let me know if I'm violating the time requirements, by the way, on public participation. I know you're...
As long as it's focused and pertinent to city business, you're golden.
Okay.
So I think you'll be all right.
So I found a couple of interesting things looking at the archives in the Rock Springs Minor newspaper edition from August 15th of 1924. There was a joint announcement by the city and the Union Pacific Coal Company that they would do the creek diversion. I thought that's interesting because the state has taken the position that the coal company was not involved in the project. Then last week I found from March 6th, 1925, in the Rock Springs Rocket, which was a separate newspaper at the time, that the Union Pacific Coal Company actually deeded the land for that project. Also interesting. So it looks like it was kind of a joint venture between the coal company and the city. And then also the Union Pacific Coal and Coke Company said that they had 100,000 gallons of water daily that came out of the number 4 mine. And that part of this project was to use that water to flush the brand new sewer system. And the headline was, largest improvement project in history of city taking form.
Remember that article? Really?
He was only a toddler at that time.
Right? Kindergarten. I hadn't learned to read yet.
So anyway, that's that. Nothing more to report. We have budget hearings. The Joint Appropriations Committee meets for the next 2 weeks, starting January the 8th. That will be for additional hearings and for budget markup. Not a lot of news there other than that the state's finances are in slightly better shape than we might have thought. So I don't expect any real drama coming out of that. So, and do you have any questions for me?
Council?
Well, I'd like to compliment you, because those two subjects that you brought up about the downtown improvement, I don't think there's a city in in Wyoming that could use it more than Rock Springs. And the fact that you're looking into the Union Pacific stuff and the Bitter Creek is huge, Clark. So just thank you. Keep up the good work.
Well, Mr. Mayor, Councilor Bottolo, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Again, it's kind of this long slog. So, and it's one thing I didn't. It doesn't surprise me that we might have to fight with the federal government about the Bitter Creek, but I've been a little surprised at the resistance we get from our own state government. So, but we're continuing on.
Oh, I too wanted to say thank you. And it just always baffled me that the stance was that the Union Pacific had nothing to do with it. When they were the employer of Rock Springs, we had a city government, yes, but really Union Pacific had a lot of pull, I think, too, on what happened, being the largest employer and really the economy of the area. So articles like that really kind of helps shine the light on another story than what they wanted to believe.
Yeah, it's interesting. The article starts with Councilman Tolliver, who is speaking in his capacity both as a member of City Council and as a vice president for the UP Coal Company. So it shows how it's done. But yeah, please feel free to contact me. Again, any concerns you've got about things going on in Cheyenne or budget requests. One thing I should have mentioned. Maybe I should have led with this. There's $52 million extra of direct ARPA money, American Rescue Plan Act money. We essentially spent it all, but then couldn't spend it all, so they expect about $52 million to revert to be available for the legislature to divvy up. So that's what's so-called direct ARPA. What's eligible for that is water projects, first and foremost, broadband, things to do with tourism, strangely enough, and then if you can show that spending the money directly deals with the adverse economic impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic, which is kind of amorphous. In any event, so if there are $52 million statewide, doesn't go all that far, but still it's there. And I'm on a subcommittee of the Joint Appropriations Committee to try to come up with an outline of how we divvy that up, because there won't be time to delegate it to the State Loan and Investment Board, because that's what we did last time. There was hundreds of millions of dollars that the legislature, for whatever reason, for better or worse, told the State Loan Investment Board, hey, you deal with this, you divvy it up by application. And that process worked mostly. But because the money must be obligated and under contract by December 31st of 2024, or we lose it, there's not time to let SLIB do its process. So I think the legislature itself will have to just make the allocations that, City of Rollins gets X dollars for its water system, or City of Rock Springs gets X dollars. So if there's a particular, I think water projects are the easiest because they're obviously eligible. So if there's something that the city is interested in, please let me know. We can get that into the hopper as well.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Anyone else?
I thought he was gonna. I can't come to the city council meeting and say something. Okay. I got caught down with a cold. My name is Shirley Ann Sekeli, and I'm here tonight as one of those voters. And I've talked to people that, about the city council, the mayor and your councilman, and I get good rapport, and then I don't get good rapport. You're always on this way. But these are some of the questions that it asked me to ask. They want to know you. They want to know who you are. Because I think, if I remember right, is some of you going up for election? Is anybody going for election? Who's going for election?
My term's up this year.
And your turn's up. And you got picked for, okay. All right. Let's see, what do I need to say? Okay. You all know that you're voted in. You speak for us. We are actually your bosses because we voted you in. And so we're all looking at you, who you are, what you do, and how you participate in meetings. And I like to ask these certain questions, and I'm really fast. I got a lot, but I'm going to only take a few because I can come back. But one of them is, do you counselors make $12,000 a year? when you are a city councilman?
That is our gross wage, yes.
Is 12,000? Do you think it's worth 12,000 to go through all this stuff and, these
That's a
meetings?
loaded question. I can't.
is that right?
It's worth it if you want to do it regardless.
Okay, do you get benefits with this?
I don't believe
They
so.
don't give you any kind of benefits?
Yeah, retirement.
Oh, you get retirement?
I believe that's optional.
And we can opt into the health insurance,
Yeah.
but I haven't.
Okay.
Your Honor, $3,000 towards benefits. That's the council cash out you all get at the end of the year.
Oh, okay. Okay,
But I guess I would be a $15,000 annual salary if you included benefits.
thank you, Tim. Okay, this is a big one. Now, and a lot of people have asked this. Do any of you have companies that would do business with the city? No.
No.
Because we had a problem with that before. And so they wanted me to ask just to make sure. Okay. Okay, so in these meetings, you go 24 meetings a year. Is that not true? 2 meetings every month? Just here, just here.
Yeah, 24 council meetings, and then I'm sure you've seen the committee list. There are a lot of additional meetings that are divvied up amongst everyone.
And you can get that on the site, the city site?
It's on
who's meeting, who's in
the
meetings?
agenda tonight. It's not, like, the committee assignments are not on the website, but it is on the agenda today. Mostly there's just not a place, I don't think, we have to be careful to make sure that the city website isn't so cumbersome with information that important information gets buried in the chaff. But every year that committee assignment list goes out, and certainly someone could call and say, hey, I'm in this ward, what committees is my council person on?
Okay, I need to find that out.
Yeah.
But I'll get with the, I'll get with the.
It's right on the agenda.
But I mean, there's some more questions I want with that.
Okay,
So
fair.
I'll just do with the
And there's
clerk.
something like 48 different committees, somewhere around there. There's a lot.
And how many times do you have to go to that committee? I mean, they have a meeting
It depends on the committee, but most of them are at least monthly.
on that. Okay. How can I say this to you nicely? And it's nice. Don't get me wrong.
Well, just toss it out there.
Okay. People have said you're boring. You're all boring. No, and I'll tell you why. All you have to do is take a few minutes out of your life, get on the YouTube and look at your meetings and watch your meetings. And you can tell who is really involved and who isn't. And it's sad because you all are, I'm sure you got all really great ideas. I'm sure there's something there, I don't know if you're afraid to say something or that. And Jeannie, you are one of them. They talked that. They really feel that you've got a lot of potential of really getting in here to these guys. Because you got nothing but men here.
I'll just bitch slap them all.
Is that? And they would like to hear.
Bring that on.
And they would like you to get more involved. Everybody really get involved in talking. There have been a few times that, Max, you have said, I can't remember, I have to go back to it, but you had said, does anybody want to speak about this? And nobody says anything. And we would like somebody to speak something. Anytime that you have to say, does anybody want to talk about this? We would like somebody, don't care who it is, say something on that and not just pass it and say, no, I don't want to talk.
99% of the time with government, if things are going well, it is really boring. I mean, that's just kind of it. If every meeting is dynamic and controversial, we're not doing our job very well.
But see, that what they're saying is they want to see more action with everyone, more into talking. You say something, then maybe you'll say a little bit, and then you go on, and this one will say, and this one. No, whatever's being talked, we want all of you to say something, even if it's a little bit, even if it's a couple of minutes or whatever. We would like just say something. We know that there's something there that you're thinking about, but you don't bring it out. And we want more, how would you say, everybody working together and talking together and more of it. And then it doesn't make it so boring. You know, I mean, you know.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
if you don't mind, I think one of the reasons we're so boring is
That's true.
very often, by the time we get to council meeting, the hard work has been done. It's been done by department heads or the city attorney's office or wherever it may be, that we're presented with this package. It's like, wow, there's really not much that we can do other than say, good job. And unless you want to bring up chickens, we could always talk about chickens some more.
No,
but,
please.
That's right.
But I think that's one of the reasons why we may seem a little bit more boring than we really are, because I know that Councilor Hanson is definitely not boring.
Well, and
I've
that
known
is-
him for a long time, and I've never considered him boring.
Well, wait till I tell Hanson something. You ain't gonna believe this one, but yeah, I do. I appreciate it. I look at it a little different than other people. I do. Of course, you know I look at it different than other people and stuff and that, but I would also like that. I like some interaction, some really, you know, talking about things. Now, Randy, I live on 11th Street, and we talked about this, and you said, and you gave me to Pedri. And I called in and to ask, I'm in Ward 4, and that's your ward. I'm in your ward, and I'm in Brent's ward. It's
Okay,
what that was told to me over there at, in the county.
okay.
When I called and they looked up my name and everything and stuff like that, they said, you are my counselor. And Brent, you are. So I think this that you are doing is fantastic. I do. I think it should have been done a long time ago because people don't like to come up and say anything, but they want to say something. So having these emails and these phone numbers is going to be really great, and especially for me, it's going to be outstanding. I mean, because I have a lot to ask, you know, just ask me questions. But what was I going to say? There was one more they wanted me to ask, but I can do it another time because you guys want to get out. And that's another thing, believe it or not. When you're watching those council meetings and that, you can see that you want out of here. You can tell it that you, man, oh, come on, hurry. I want to get out of here. And I can see it. But you start at 7 o'clock and get out of here at 8. That's not very long. It really isn't. And you have a lot to say. You have a lot to tell us. And I know what it was. On the meetings that you go to, everybody's on a different board. Is that not true? Okay. The people would like to know, because they can't get onto these boards to see what's going on, would like you to say something, you know, of what's going on with that board. You know, a little bit, you don't have to do a big, long thing in that, but just give just a little bit of what's going on that board that you're on. There you go. Thank you.
Yeah, that'd be an easy thing to add. Just
Yeah, and then that's more being involved with you, knowing what you're doing and, you know, what's happening. Because it's been a long time, as Zadi knows, it's been a long time that we never had our First Amendment. And now that we do, and we're going to fight, and I will fight, I don't care what I have to do to fight for it, but I'll do it with respect and kindness to you. But I want to know, I want you to answer my questions, and you've been doing pretty good. And I have heard good things, you know, that, hey, you know, if you get up there and you ask them, you know, that they usually says something. They usually let you know. But thank you, and you look like, y'all look like that you made it through New Year's.
Your Honor.
Awesome.
Yes, sir.
One more thing. Shirley, I appreciate you coming and speaking for some of the people you talk to. I'm curious, though, why they don't feel like coming in down and having a conversation with us as well. I mean, if they have direct questions, it'd be great if they came down and talked to us.
I agree with you, but I'll tell you one other thing, Tim, that I agree with you on, and that's with they feel much better with this. I mean, you know, talking with them and stuff and that, they feel much better with this because they have a hard time. It's like that one cute little gal that comes in, Heather, and you see how hard that she has to be able to do it. Not everybody can speak like me. You know, get up and ask you questions, you know what I mean? Ask you questions and not be afraid what you have to say to me. Because we all have our own opinions. And so this is a good night to let them know that you get your councilman. And every time I go out, Tim, I will definitely tell them you call your councilman. And you guys are going on for election, right? Then you need to get out there and start on, going now. You need to start campaigning now, not late. You campaign now.
Well, and certainly if you would encourage them to come to the council meetings.
Oh, I do. You ought to see me.
Yeah, I don't
Tell
think
them
we're
how much
nearly
fun.
as scary as people think we are. They get all worked up in their heads that it's something terrifying, and we're pretty easygoing.
Well, I'm going to tell you the truth, Max, now that you said that. And this is a fact. Every time I came into the meetings, I was very polite and kind and respectful. And every time I just asked some questions and that wasn't liked, I got thrown out. It got to the point when I went to go to those doors, the doors would open for me. And I could walk out because of questions that I ask. They're fearful of that. They're afraid that they don't know you and they don't know you, councilman, very well. You're not supposed to be speaking, Randy. That was in that.
I'm sorry?
That is accurate.
You're not supposed to be speaking. when I'm
It's in our
talking to
public
you.
comment guidelines that we shouldn't have.
I'm consulting with my other counselor regarding my ward.
That's not what it says in that.
I failed to,
Timeout. You're going to a timeout corner.
Okay, well, thank you, Shirley.
I failed to campaign in your area, and I apologize.
Oh, I know you did, but you know what? I voted for you anyway because I knew you. I knew you before. I knew you as a police officer. I went on and rides with you. Oh, yeah. But anyway, so I will try my hardest to let people in that. Oh, one more really fast. I was so disgusted with the city. When you had that young lady that was talking about your paycheck, the paychecks, the consultant that on the pay.
Oh, the wage study?
There you go. I was so disgusted with the members, the people in the city. You know why? Is because all of these guys were here for that mighty dollar and what they're going to get, and that's great. You need to know that. But there was this young man here, and then there was a couple here from the city that sat here through the whole meeting. These guys got in a hurry to get out of here because they didn't want to hear what you had to say, any of you. And I think it's wrong. I think that they should show some respect and they should show, would you say it? That, hey, they care about this city, not only their paychecks, but they care. They care about you, Max, and they care about the counselors and what you have to say. Because you ain't having any fun, let me tell you.
It's hard to get people to be super invested in hanging out at a meeting when they've been at work all day.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I bet.
We, the people, pay for their job. We do. Our taxes, we pay for their job. And they need to show you guys, and I don't care what you think, but, sorry, but they need to show some respect for you because you guys, like you say, you're in these meetings and you're doing all this stuff and all that. Well, excuse me, they do an 8-hour shift over there, depending on what they do and stuff and that. But you do a lot more. So I would hope that the city would say, hey, let us support Max and the councilman, and let us come once in a while. Don't have to be here all the time like me. Come once in a while and just to show their respect
Well,
to you guys.
I can safely say, Shirley, that one thing we agree on is that it would be wonderful if we had more public involvement and attention to what we're doing. Most of it is just routine business, right? There's not a lot of excitement. Tonight we've got a request to bid on some new lockers because the lockers are falling apart at the rec center. And then the council policy on public comment, and that's kind of the whole thing. So it's people tend to show up for the things that are important to them, but whether people realize it or not, and which is part of why I really appreciate Representative Stith coming, the actions of the government have a real impact on people's day-to-day lives, and they should pay attention. We can't compel them, and it is difficult. My 8-year-old had hockey practice tonight, and I'm here, not there. I'm sure everybody in this room has somewhere that they would prefer to be, but it's important to be here. So we certainly appreciate, Shirley, that you're here.
And I'm going to be here many, many times.
Well, good.
You know, and it'll be good questions, honest questions. It won't be anything that's going to put you down or we can have a problem or stuff like that. But it's questions that needed to be said, because these questions were never said ever in the city council meeting, ever. And so now people know where you're coming from, what you're doing, you know, and how you're doing things. And we'll see what the next meeting goes.
Yes, ma'am.
As they say, until we meet again.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
you said you weren't going to put us down?
You know,
You said we're boring.
if I
just
told you
feedback.
about putting you down, Brent,
I'm
I'm
joking
telling
with
you,
I'm trying to have some fun
the
with you.
chief would have to come over and say, hey, Shirley, the doors are opening for you. But you know what? Stop and think about it. If you don't believe that, watch your meetings. And I'm sure that you guys will improve, hopefully, because I'll be up here asking, you know, and thanking you for doing it. You know, because we don't. The people of this town don't thank our politicians because it's been so bad for so long. It's hard to thank. But I've been more with you guys, talking to you guys, that I can see there are changes. Zadi, I see a big change. I really do. It's wonderful. There are no words to even tell you. But thank you. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you next time.
Yes, ma'am. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the bills and claims for January 2nd, 2024. Council, do we have a motion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Demas?
I make a motion to approve the bills and claims for January 2nd, 2024.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Second. Thank you, Councilor Zadi. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining?
Abstaining.
Okay, the motion carries with Councilor Pedri and Thompson abstaining. That takes us to the salaries for December 21st, 2023. Council, do we have a motion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Demas?
I make a motion to approve the salaries for December 21st, 2023.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Hickerson. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining?
Abstaining.
Motion carries with Councilors Thompson and Pedri abstaining. That brings us to new business. We have a request from the Parks and Recreation Department for permission to bid new lockers for the Family Recreation Center's locker rooms. Council, do we have a motion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Batolo?
so moved.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Thompson. Is there any discussion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Hickerson?
I would like to say my children do frequent the rec center about 5 times a week. They're very happy to hear these are going to be put up for bid.
Nice. Very good.
Your Honor, are those the original ones that were
Probably.
built back in?
I think so.
Those original lockers, have those ever been replaced
Are
before?
they the 1987 model, or did we get an update sometime?
Your Honor, Counselor Thompson, that's correct. They were installed in 85, 86, and they're actually particle board.
Oh,
And so if you can imagine particle board lockers in
humidity.
a wet environment for 37, 38 years, it's just time.
Yeah.
Surprised it lasted this long.
Right. Thanks. Very good. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries unanimously. Quick note, barring any strenuous objections from the council, I asked Mr. Beckwith to look into the reasoning behind doing roll call versus voice vote. And it turns out we don't have to do roll call.
But it's fun to watch you get all
I hate
hot and bothered.
I hate roll call with a passion. I think there's a time and a place if there's something that is a very controversial topic, or if it's an ambiguous voice vote, then it makes sense to move to roll call. But I would like to just move forward with voice votes, barring those circumstances.
Seems very boring to me, Your Honor.
I am a really boring human being, like tragically. If people were hoping for excitement, I'm not the guy. I like things nice and efficient and, so yeah, if you guys are good. Okay. With that, Matt, our one resolution for this evening, if you would please, sir.
A resolution of the City of Rock Springs accepting, approving, and establishing a council policy regarding decorum and civility during public meetings.
Okay, council, do we have a motion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Hickerson?
move to approve Resolution 2024-01.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Your Honor,
Se-
I'd just like to thank you and whoever took the time to put this together.
Thank Kristen.
To set Kristen, to set the guidelines on that, everybody's on the same page. We know ahead of time what's expected. And I think it's just a long time overdue. I like that we're not setting a time limit on people's speech, but some guidelines to stay on track and keep on the business at hand. So I'll second.
Thank you. And I think it'll be helpful for people to understand that public comment, like Shirley does a very nice job of giving comment that is pertinent to the city and the in-city business. And it's always very focused on the city. And some of our other public comment folks have brought things up that are way out of our purview. And so it'll be good to for them to see, oh, I probably shouldn't tell them about my concerns around illegal immigration on the Texas border because we can't do anything about that. And if they start to stray, then we can say, oh, hey, we're going to bring up, like, you have city comment. So with that, is there any other discussion? Here we go. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries unanimously. And before I adjourn, are you guys good if we add a section prior to petitions for council members to provide a brief update for the committees they serve on, if any exist?
Your Honor, we did have at one point council committee and board reports. That was where that was to be.
We still have
Yeah.
that, but it's in the consent agenda, and those
Yeah.
are for the formal written. So my thought was we'd split it
We
out.
can split that out, and that would give an opportunity to speak at that point.
Yeah, so we'll have still those formal written reports under the consent agenda, and then subsequent, we'll say, hey, is, anybody have the meeting? Is there anything they want to share with the public about what they've done, blah, blah, blah.
And one other thing, just going back to the voice vote versus roll call. I'm good on resolutions, but I do think on ordinance, a roll call would be better. And we know, because that's a law, it's an ordinance we're putting on the books, and I think it's important for people to know how their representatives are voting specifically. I mean, we can get it through the minutes and that, but if they're watching, they want to know, I think that might be a better
I'd agree with that.
use for the roll call and ordinance.
Deal.
If we want to change.
I'll take it. Okay, with that,